Assalamualaikum dear students, hope you all are doing good. So today we are going to have some fun with magnets. Students, do you know why pins in a pin holder do not fall even when held upside down? And similarly, while we are shutting the door of a fridge, we find it that it closes automatically from a certain distance. Why is it so? It is because a magnet is used in these gadgets. A magnet is fitted in the gap of a pin holder and in the door of a fridge. It is because iron objects stick to a magnet. Let's move ahead and see what is magnet. The material to which an object is made from iron, nickel, cobalt, etc. get attracted is called a magnet. And this property of a material is called magnetism. So, to identify the magnetic material, we'll do some activity. Let's take a mixture of iron filling, salt and sand and pass a magnet around the mixture. We will observe that some objects stick to a magnet. So, the objects that stick to a magnet are called magnetic material. For example, iron, cobalt, nickel. Non-magnetic materials are those who do not stick to a magnet. For example, rubber, wood, glass, etc. Now let's have a look on a history of magnet. Once there is a shepherd named Magnus lived in Greece. He sat down on a big rock, but when he tried to get up, his staff and shoes were stuck to the rock. He had to use great force to pull himself away from the rock. He realized that what had happened was because of the iron ferrule on his staff and the iron nails in his shoes. However, other rocks did not stick to the shoes or staff. Later he showed the rock to everybody. The rock was named magnetite. Magnetite is a natural magnet, and it is also possible that the name magnet came from the Magnesia, the part of Greece where magnet was discovered. Let's have a look on mariner's compass. And how is mariner compass used? Long ago, known that the people of China and Europe that a piece of a magnetite hung freely is always settled in north and south direction. These rocks then came to be used for finding directions while traveling through unknown regions. That's why they are also called lodstones, means leading stones. This led to an invention of a magnet compass. A needle compass always settles in north and south direction. Magnets can have varieties of shapes depending upon their uses. Today, magnets are used in many machines and gadgets or devices. They all are called man-made magnets. And also, there are varieties of shapes of magnets. For example, bar magnet, horseshoe magnet, needle magnet, cylindrical magnet, oval shaped magnet, ring magnet. Now, let's have a look what is magnetism. When a magnet attracts an object, this property is called magnetism. That object is displaced due to the magnetic force. In the places like factories, ports, garbage depots, large objects are shifted from one place to another. For this purpose, a crane is used. So, we can say work is done by magnetic force. This shows that a magnetism is a kind of energy. Now, let's move to the characteristics of magnets. A magnet always settles in a north and south direction. If you hung a magnet freely, you will notice that it always settles in a north and south direction. The magnetic force is concentrated at the two ends or poles of the magnets. As you can see, at the edge of the magnet, there are lots of amount of magnets attracted. If a magnet is divided into two parts, two dependent magnets are formed. It means that the two poles of a magnet cannot be separated from each other. As you can see in the picture, we have divided the magnet into some parts and you can clearly see that dependent magnets are formed. Now, moving to another characteristic, that is, a magnetic material acquires magnetism when placed near a magnet. This magnetism is called induced magnetism. Induced magnetism is a magnetism of an object as a result of external influence. It's a kind of temporary magnetic force. Now next is attraction and repulsion of the magnets. The unlike or the opposite poles of the magnets attracts each other is called the attraction of the magnets. Same poles or the like poles of a magnet repel each other is called the repulsion of the magnet. Now, moving to the next part is artificial magnet. We can make an artificial magnet too by rubbing a magnet over it from one end to another end. Magnetism of this kind is a temporary. It lasts for a short while. Now next, we are going to learn about electromagnet. What is an electromagnet? For this, we are going to do an activity. In this activity, we are going to understand what is electromagnet. You will see that pins stick to the coil when current is passing, but when we stop the current, the pins falls off. Why this happens? Magnetism is produced in the nail due to electric current. When it is put off, the magnetism vanishes. Such a magnet is called electromagnet. Electromagnetism is used in many places in our day-to-day life. As you can see in the picture, there are so many things, and in these things electromagnetism is used. Now let's have a look how magnet is destroyed. A magnet is destroyed when a magnet is heated. When a magnet is hit by a hammer. If a magnet is thrown. We can store the magnets with the help of these methods. A piece of a soft iron is placed in the box in which a magnet is kept. The bar of soft or pure iron protects a magnet, therefore it is said to be a magnet keeper. With the help of these methods, we can store a magnet safely. Let's have a look what we have learned. An iron, nickel, cobalt are magnetic materials. Magnets always settles along the north and south direction when suspended freely. Magnetism is concentrated near the poles. The poles of a magnet cannot be separated. Electromagnetic energy is used in our day-to-day life. Hope you all have understood all the concept and hope to meet soon again, inshallah. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.